All right, I've been told. Hello, everyone. Look, welcome to Hell's Kitchen. Hell's Kitchen was, it's probably not the best term, but just to give you a little history lesson there, Hell's Kitchen was the original bar and restaurant and dance hall, which was out here in Mullet Island, not that far from here, established in 1908. So just to give you a little bit of history on the namesake, I would firstly say thank you, Gavin Newsom. We're honoured to have you here. We really are. I mean, the whole valley, and thank you so much for your leadership. Your leadership on lithium has grown from a vision to an incredible story, as you've witnessed today. We are producing lithium. There's no doubt about it. I think that we've had our challenges over the years and months, but this plant behind you here, the $60 million that we've invested here, is running a steady state and producing a very high quality lithium product. So Mr. Governor, from early solar, wind, Silicon Valley, California has always supported innovation. Now we're witnessing another moment in history with the creation of California's Lithium Valley, right here. The importance of securing a domestic minerals and battery supply chain in a clean energy hub in the United States cannot be underestimated. In Lithium Valley, we can achieve this without negatively impacting the environment. And just to give you some numbers here of relevance to what this particular resource, the Hell's Kitchen resource, can produce, fully developed, the Hell's Kitchen resource can produce enough lithium to support 5 million EV batteries per year, right? So in retrospect, what that does, 5 million EVs on the road removes 1.95 billion gallons of gasoline per year. That's equivalent to 23 million metric tons of CO2 from exhaust pipe emissions from that amount of batteries, and that can be produced right here. We cut back a further 4.3 million tons of CO2 by clean production. We do not produce any CO2. This is the cleanest way it's done compared to other methods, hard rock and salars. Fully developed, the master's plan you can see on the back wall there, and Mr. Governor, you've seen the plan in the other building, we spoke about that, will employ somewhere between 10 and 12,000 green jobs. We have, very happy to announce, we have project labour agreements for the whole project, not just stage one, but the whole thing. So we're committed, so thank you. Our friends at General Motors and Stellantis understand this, and as a result, we have long-term commercial contracts, as I explained, Mr. Governor. These are not just, let's buy a bag of lithium on the spot price. These are 10 to 12 year take-or-pay contracts. They mean something. So again, you've got similar leadership, Mr. Governor, in Maryborough and others that really want to do the right, clean, sustainable, locally sourced, out of a community, one of the most impoverished communities in the nation. The key to transition to zero emission vehicles by 2035 is here. It's right here. And thank you, Mr. Governor, for leading the way. We really appreciate it. Your vision, from Eduardo Garcia's vision all the way down to David Hochschild, I must give a plug there because that leadership is coming through. The Lithium Valley Commission wasn't a coincidence. It was a well-planned organisation that taught us a lot about how we're all working together. And I'd like to acknowledge the president of the Taurus Martinez tribe as a result of that. So thank you. So from ideas to reality, just like California, and particularly you, Mr. Governor, we are tenacious, disciplined, and determined to get it done and get it done right. Thank you. I'd like to welcome the chair of the Taurus Martinez tribe.
Thank you, Rod. Thank you for your kind words. I just want to say Mewan, Homo Emam, and we say greetings and Kauia. And I just want to thank everyone that made this possible, this opportunity, a milestone in history for the communities. And I just wanted to be known that the tribes are also a community and not to be forgotten. And we know that the electricity, once it goes through the north, it has to pass through the reservation. And another reminder that the reservation is checkerboarded. So we need the technical assistance for the jurisdictional authority to get that power, to get the lithium across the bridges that are on the reservation, the infrastructure that the reservation lacks. So when the reservation benefits, everyone benefits with this lithium opportunity. and just remind everyone that we are one tribe of many that have concerns. So we're working on opposition tribes that don't look at this in a kind way, but we're progressing in that area. So again, thanks for everyone for this opportunity, and the inclusion of the tribes is also a milestone. Thank you, Governor, for including the tribes in your statement and your travels out here to invite the tribes and our input. It's truly admirable. So I just want to say in closing, then pen to I want chem qualenum, pen to I wanamish chem qualenum, which means we have been here and we are here now, and with your help, we will always be here as one people. Thank you. Hespen Achama Halawa. My bad, and I introduce the next speaker, Ms. Sylvia Paz.
Oh, good morning. Governor, welcome to the Salton Sea region. It's really a pleasure to have you here. And I think your presence, it's a testament to all the work that has been done by the communities, whether we have a title or not. We are residents that have been advocating for a different future. So thank you for hearing us. Thank you to Assemblymember Garcia for putting us on the map. And one thing that I hope that everyone walks away with today is the hope that having a lithium industry grown right out of Imperial County might be the transformation that this region needs. We have never experienced the time, I think, where we are now, where there is alignment between the federal and the state government and the ideals of equity and inclusion, in the idea that we can have an economy that does not jeopardize an environment and that does not leave community members behind. I think California is doing all that it can to go in this direction, and I think that the leadership in Imperial County is working to make that happen. This could really be a place where we can demonstrate what doing right means. So again, thank you, and I will now introduce Supervisor Ryan Kelly.
So thank you, Sylvia, and thank you for your leadership on the Lithium Valley Commission as chair. Lots of momentum from that conversation. And then I expressly thank Governor Newsom and welcome you to Imperial County, home of Lithium Valley. Today, the United States produces about 1% of the global lithium worldwide. And according to the Geological Survey, Imperial County is blessed with an abundance of geothermal brine at the Salton Sea. The earth-heated brine is rich in critical minerals needed for the production of batteries and alloys, including lithium, manganese, and zinc. And Imperial County supports the governor's vision, securing a domestic supply of critical minerals and Lithium Valley. And Lithium Valley can produce these valuable resources in an environmentally conscious way. Each proposed lithium extraction plant would be a closed-loop system without the creation of open pits or solar evaporation ponds, as well as inviting a location for battery manufacturing adjacent to the resource here in Imperial County. California set these goals for renewable energy and electric vehicles, and they're being adopted in the United States and across the world. California energy for California jobs. I like the sound of that. And we are here to protect our future by developing a strategic mineral resource and promoting an environmentally friendly business practice. Imperial County is grateful for the passage of Senate Bill 125. In partnership with your office, we have begun. We have initiated a specific plan and programmatic EIR for Lithium Valley. We have also initiated a health impact assessment for Lithium Valley infrastructure assessment. The severance tax or excise tax that was approved is now up for public comment, and we are going to have a listening session tomorrow at our Board of Supervisors meeting. In all, we continue to move forward in promoting this resource for the future of our communities, to see opportunities rise. We are very proud of our agricultural base and what we produce that are in your salad bowls and inside your refrigerators every winter and summer. But we'd like to be able to have more to complement that. And we believe that manufacturing of cathodes and batteries here in Imperial County is the piece that makes that puzzle happen. So once again, Governor, thank you for coming and paying attention to this corner of California. And you're invited to come back for some carne asada and maybe a beer. At this time, I'd like to introduce San Diego State President Adela de la Torre.
Thank you, Supervisor Kelly, and thank you, Governor Newsom, for this invitation to speak. I really appreciate it. Es un placer de estar aquí. Buenos días. It's an incredible day. I mean, I look at this sunshine and I say, what a blessing to be here and to be with all of you, because it's a moment in time that we're going to remember decades to come. So when I look at SDSU, our family is here in the Imperial Valley. We've been here for over 60 years. We have a campus in Calexico and Brawley. But more importantly, in the last 5 years, we've been committed to invest and grow so that the students and families here can have access and opportunity into fields that traditionally have not been available. We've invested about $15 million. And in particular, one of the things I'm most proud of is the expansion, most recent expansion of our nursing program. But more recently, I want to speak about a very important investment, and that was by Governor Newsom, the $80 million project from the state, championed by the governor, in order to create state-of-the-art classrooms, lab offices, core side-by-side facilities in our Brawley campus that really will be critical for the opportunities for future employees of these wonderful industries. And because of that, we're going to be able to have homegrown, highly skilled individuals, not only with bachelor's degrees, but with the new legislation moving forward with doctoral degrees in manufacturing, engineering, and in chemistry. And this is important because we need to produce jobs for people who are here, and we have to create wealth that stays here. And without higher education and the partnership with the SDSU, that will not be possible. I just wanted to say that I'm very excited. The design phase of the building is almost done, and in a few weeks we'll have that. And we are on time with the construction timeline and on budget, which is difficult oftentimes. But more importantly, we're going to be able to open in 2025 with the hope of doubling our student capacity by 1,000 students. And we are going to work with Indu to ensure not only are they going to be in the classroom, but they're going to have the opportunity for internships in the jobs around this region. Our plan is to expand more educational opportunities, more access, more economic opportunities, but also to work with the county and the cities to ensure that we can plan beyond just a needs assessment to actual filling the jobs that they need in order to create the environment for growth. One of the other things that I'd like to talk about is that as we look at our students of the future, sustainability is important. And if I were to say, what is the one issue that our students are asking about? They want to make sure that there's clean energy, that their children have spaces that are environmentally safe. So an area of expansion with Lithium Valley and this project is that we will make sure that environmental health is at the forefront of how we train our students, whether they're engineers, chemists, or public health individuals. So we're going to be focusing, working with our team on renewable energy. And in particular, we want to make sure that the chemists and engineers of the future are well trained in that area. So what we see is that we will be impacting every single level of Lithium Valley. We're going to be working with everybody in the community, but more importantly, we are looking at sustainability and equity in mind. We want to make sure that the quality of life for all Californians is at the forefront, and in particularly in Imperial Valley that has historically been underserved and economically not had the same advantages as other regions of the state. So I want to thank Governor Newsom, and I also want to mention to Governor Newsom, this moment of time is particularly important for San Diego State and California because it is parallel to what's happening at San Diego State in basketball. As you know, Friday, we will be playing Alabama. And I want you to know that many pundits said we would not reach that point. And I want to remember 5 years ago, people said, we're not going to reach this point in Imperial Valley. And look at us today. We're walking in and we are going to reach those goals. And that's because we believe in the future. We believe in the courage of our people. We believe in the fact that we are warriors in the positive sense of the world. And so I want to thank Governor Newsom because not only is this a great day for Lithium Valley, it's a great day for all of us. It's a great day for the nation. And it's a great day for San Diego State. And I have to say, go Aztecs. So I now have the privilege of introducing the representative from the 25th Congressional District, Congressman Raul Ruiz. Dr. Ruiz represents Coachella Valley in Imperial County.
Thank you. Thank you. Go Aztecs! Go San Diego State! It's awesome to be here with everybody. I'm Congressman Dr. Raul Ruiz. I represent California's 25th Congressional District. I represent the Imperial County for the first time since January 3rd. Thank you to all the Imperial County residents who put their trust in me. It's the best district in the country. And I want to thank my good friend Governor Gavin Newsom for being here today. From day one, Governor Newsom has been a strong partner and advocate in addressing the environmental crisis at the Salton Sea, protecting the public's health and identifying clean energy solutions. So, Governor, welcome back to the Imperial Valley, or the Lithium Valley, as we like to call it here in our local area. And I have to tell you, the governor has completed every promise he made to me since he was on the campaign trail. It was one of the first things that he got accomplished was to really put the focus on the Salton Sea, and I think part of it was to get me off his back because every time I saw him, first thing that came up to mind was Salton Sea, Salton Sea. So thank you so much for that. I also want to thank Assemblymember Eduardo Garcia for his tireless effort for the Imperial County for so many years. Controlled Thermal Resources CEO Rod Caldwell, Torres Martinez Tribal Chairman Thomas Tortes, Lithium Valley Commissioner Chair Silvia Paz, and Imperial County Supervisor Ryan Kelly. We also have Comité Cívico leader here, Director Luis Olmedo. Thank you for being here as well and for your insights and advocating for the residents. All of you are incredible leaders, and I'm honored to fight alongside you each and every day. I also want to thank the press that's here and all the workers who toil the fields here in CRT and throughout. Thank you for being here. You know, we have an incredible opportunity to transform our region's economy, our environment, our public health, and our future. You see, in our backyards, right here where we stand, we have the 5th largest deposit of lithium in the world. And it has the potential to supply the lithium needed for electrical vehicle batteries that power our clean energy future, a clean energy revolution that has already been kickstarted by the state of California under the leadership of Governor Newsom. In the last year, Governor Newsom has signed legislation into state law that will fortify our electric grid for EVs and bolster our infrastructure for charging station. And this is in addition to a $10 billion zero emissions package at the state level that will help us meet our goals. At the federal level, we're building on this progress with legislation signed into law by President Biden, such as the Inflation Reduction Act, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, and the CHIPS and Science Act. These laws, plus bold action taken by the President under the Defense Production Act to bolster battery manufacturing, lithium extraction, will advance our goals to address climate change, shore up domestic supply chains, reduce energy costs, and strengthen our national security. So thanks to the innovation that's happening right here in Imperial County, Lithium Valley will serve as a model for how we can protect our community's health while we advance these objectives. And we will set this example only if it's done right. That means teeing up the lithium productions to the public's health, to ensuring that there's ongoing, meaningful consultation with the local communities, and transformational community development benefits and investments in education, workforce, healthcare, infrastructure that will bring critical resources to one of the most underserved, under-resourced regions in all of California, if not the nation. So together, we're reaching toward a clean energy future for the Salton Sea and our communities. A future with good-paying union jobs filled by local workers, a future with lower energy costs for families here in Southern California and all across the nation, and a future where the Lithium Valley is the nation's manufacturing center of clean energy batteries. So every day, we're getting closer and closer to making this a reality, and it's all starting right here. And together with state, federal, tribal, county, city, CBO, community-based organization collaborations, along with strong public-private partnerships, we will make Lithium Valley the nation's manufacturing center of clean energy batteries right here. And, you know, we talk about the economics, we talk about the policies at the federal level, we talk about the policies at the state level. All of this is about people. All of this is about the human face that for too long has been left out, left without, left behind, that is at the very forefront of this effort here. The people like Hector, like Keith, like Cesar, who live here, who rely on these jobs, who breathe the air, who go to school, send their kids to school, their grandchildren, people who need the opportunity to advance and grow. And so we tie the enormous opportunity with the economy and the climate change as big picture overview, but we also need to make sure that the people who live in the homes in the Imperial County benefit from the enormous opportunity that this happened. And I know that's a goal that the governor has, that's the goal that State Assembly Member Eduardo Garcia has, a goal that I have, a goal that all the electeds that are sitting at this table are viewing. And I know that the geothermal lithium extracting companies also are in line with that goal. So I want to thank everybody for being here and who have really expressed the passion to making this a reality. And nobody has expressed the passion who has represented this place longer than Assemblyman Eduardo Garcia, who has been the champion at the state to move legislation, to speak of our collective vision louder than anybody in the state, who has paved the way, and next we will pave these roads to ensure that lithium can get from here into our battery manufacturing here, together working collaboratively with the governor, the state, the federal government, the county, and all the CBOs with their input to making sure that this dream that we all collectively share is a reality. Let's give it up for Assembly Member Eduardo Garcia.
Hello, hello. Good afternoon. Thank you for that introduction, Congressman. And if this work could not have come together without the work of many people who not are standing behind us, but that are sitting in front of us. There are a lot of local elected officials here from the border all the way down to this present site that we sit at. I want to recognize the mayors of Calipatria, the mayors of El Centro, Brawley, representatives from the other cities that are here. Thank you for your collaboration in this work that's come together to allow us to be here today and welcome the 40th governor of the great state of California, Gavin Newsom. I want to share with the governor, I'd like to use my minutes here for the purposes of recognizing the team that you've built, the team that you have behind you, whether they are secretaries in the Natural Resources Agency, Cali PA, your climate czar that sits right next to you on all of these conversations. You see, the work that we do doesn't get done on its own. It's an idea that turns into a vision that ultimately our team members put forward an action plan and execute. And so if it wasn't for your team and the collaboration that they've taken on with our local stakeholders, including our offices from the state to the federal, we would not be here today. I do want to acknowledge you, Mr. Governor. You said you'd come and you are here. You said that you would be paying attention to Imperial County, and you have. You said to me that Imperial County would be a large part of what is our climate and renewable energy goals and objectives of the state of California, and it is. And now we see an amazing opportunity that not just for the state, for the nation, as the congressman has mentioned, but for the entire world, that the clean energy and climate change policies that we need to be championing, they start here. They start right here in Imperial County, and this example behind us of the amazing opportunity for the people of Imperial County, I'd like to say is only the beginning. Last year, you signed into law a series of bills and monetary commitments ranging over $1.5 billion. Everything from transmission investment to incentives for innovation grants to develop the ancillary type economic benefits for this region, money for community-based organizations to remain engaged in the conversation from beginning to the end, because we don't want to leave the community behind in these discussions. And I know that in this particular legislative session, we're talking about doing more. We're talking about doing more to ensure that we can reinforce the vision and the commitment that's been made. I just want to say, Governor Newsom, thank you. Thank you for living up to that commitment. Thank you for believing in the people of Imperial County. And thank you for making sure that you answered Alice's question. She asked if Gavin lived in a cabin. And so we're going to introduce the governor, the 48th governor of the state of California, our good friend, partner, and I think Imperial County's champion. That's Governor Gavin Newsom.
That's a hell of an introduction. Let me thank you all very much for taking the time to be out here. I know we put this event together in a very short period of time, so I'm humbled by all of your participation, your presence, but moreover your perseverance to not only get us back, but to get a lot done over the course of the last number of years. I had the privilege a few hours ago to be down at a site, 4,100 acre site, a restoration site, a few $100 million being invested in some wetland restorations, new river work that's being done down just stone's throw away behind us to address, Mr. Congressman, that urgent issue of what's happening with the Salton Sea, and to reconcile the fact that this state needs to not only take ownership and responsibility, but it's got to take the initiative to do more and meet the expectations of this community that have been completely torn asunder by the environmental degradation that has occurred for too long. We recognize as well that we can't do it alone, and I want to congratulate you and your colleagues and others for helping support those efforts federally. That included a $250 million recent investment, which we want to get to work investing those dollars shortly to continue down that path. I also want to acknowledge, Eddie, for your recognition, Assembly Member, for your recognition of my team, for Wade Crowfoot, who's quite literally the first event he had, the first visit he had as Secretary of Natural Resources was coming down to this community because we wanted to fulfill that commitment we were making to you, that I'd heard over and over in visits down here, some more high profile than others, that, you know, a lot of rhetoric behind those campaign visits and not a lot of substance and a lot of follow through. And so we wanted you to know that it was an all administration commitment, and of course the recognition of David Hochfeld. I appreciate that recognition, the CEC, their focused effort and energy in this space, the money that they have put to back up those commitments is demonstrable, and they want to be here for the long haul as we continue through this transition. The great work that Lauren Sanchez is doing, we stole her from the Biden administration. She was working with Secretary Kerry. We brought her back, and we cannot impress upon you more the urgency of why. You saw, I don't know if any of you picked up the morning news and the IPCC or IPCC report, which is a fancy four-letter acronym for the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. The UN put out their latest report after 6 deep years of study looking at universal consensus as it relates to climate change. And you thought things were tough the day before yesterday. read this report today in terms of the urgency of this moment. And I don't need to remind you as Californians, we're experiencing in most parts of this state, not right here, but not too many miles north of us, Riverside, it's already raining, 12th atmospheric river. We've gone from extremes, this weather whiplash, the most dry and arid years that we've experienced in our lifetime to now some of the wettest years in our lifetime. It's exactly what they predicted 20, 30, 50 years from now, and we're living it today. And so we have a sense of urgency to meet this moment, to address the needs of the community, to advance and continue the efforts to advance our low carbon green growth goals, and one overriding commitment, that's to you. And that's perhaps the most important reason I'm here. Louise and others have made that crystal clear. All of you behind me, thank you for reminding me, as the Congressman said, it's about people. It's about the lived experience, and I'm not naive. None of you, we talk about the state, the fact that we had 7.8% GDP growth, eat your heart out, Texas and Florida. The fact that, we're now the 4th largest economy in the world, eat your heart out, Germany. But we don't live in the aggregate, and I'm not naive about that. And we talk about the fact that just a couple months ago, we had the lowest recorded unemployment in the nation, our state's history, not in 20, 30, 50 years, state's history. We don't live in the aggregate. And that is something we have to reconcile. So when we talk about equity, we're not ashamed to buy it. The other governors seem to be, as they're pulling away from that. But when we talk about equity, we also aren't just talking about righting wrongs and dealing with gaps. We're also talking about equity. We're talking about partnerships. We're talking about real inclusion. We're talking about economic opportunities. And we're talking about making sure we're there. And I couldn't be more proud. And I really want to thank all of you for acknowledging, Assembly member's work was just next level. He said, we're not interested in playing small ball. We're not going to work with the administration unless you're sincere and committed to the community. We did something last year, it's not happened anywhere else in the state. There has never been a commitment looking at the scale and opportunity that presents itself anew here. Thank you, CTR and others, for leading the way. Where 100 cents of the dollar, we want to go back to the community, 80% specifically to the community and economic development opportunities, and then 20% to the Salton Sea. That's never happened before. So that's the commitment. I mean, this is for you. This is bottom up, not top down. Supervisors very mindful. Now the granularity of that and making sure community voices are truly front and center. It's a two-way conversation. And I'm mindful that that last 10% is the toughest. And we are also mindful of our job at the state to be stewards to make sure we finish that work and get that job done. Final thing, look, a few years ago, there were cartoons and people were mocking us because we had a crazy idea of signing an executive order, become the first jurisdiction in the country, only jurisdiction in the world to require all vehicles sold in this, again, remarkable place we call home to be alternative fuel. I could not even imagine 4 or 5 years later, not only did we codify those goals, but you've now seen those goals advance. The European Union, 447 million people, just established their own 2035 goals. The entire industry has now moved in this space. And we made the point years ago that we want to dominate in this transition. We see this as one of the greatest economic opportunities of our lifetime. And we want California to dominate in this space. And we're doing that. Over 50 plus manufacturers in electric vehicles just here in the state alone. It's one of our largest exports. You see that bus behind me, manufactured in the state of California, in Lancaster. The rules and regulations, our regulations created the market, the incentives, the financing, the support, all union jobs right up the road from us. Cleaning up communities at the same time, two-way power source. That's, comes right back. That all the electricity problems we're having, that thing is a power source as well. That's the future, and it's real. And so I love that it's here, and I'll end right now. That we're here talking about what we're mining and what it ultimately represents. And therein lies the opportunity, and that's the vision of this clean energy campus. So thank you, all of you, for your vision and your hard work. Thank you to IBEW, brothers and sisters, for your incredible commitment to this effort. And CTR, thank you for And I'll just close on this, man. I mean, you are the personification of California values. You're hitting him, Mr. Chairman. He's got your back, respects tribal sovereignty. He's got the back of our working men and women in terms of the PLA commitments and the commitments to working folks. I just want to applaud your efforts. This is a remarkable project, and what you're doing is next level, and that's what this state's about, and we want to partner with folks like you, so thank you as well for your incredible example. With that, you're going to answer all the questions, right? Are you? That's it. That was the deal. That's why you're out of school today. Come on. Yeah, you're up. All right, we're here to answer any questions. My new press secretary.
All right. Hi, Governor. My name is Angela Chen with KESQ. We are, of course, interested about the impact of lithium production on the surrounding Salton Sea area, especially the more impoverished areas. And I don't think you can talk about uplifting an area without talking about the Salton Sea. We know that the Species Conservation Habitat Project is moving along, but the SSMP project lost its lead, Arturo Delgado. He retired in August, but has not been replaced. Do you have a timeline for when he will be? Because, it seems to, it's tough to have.
You got the answer right there.
I'm sorry? Days. Is that a promise? Within this month? All right. Okay, so we can expect to see a replacement for Delgado within this month. And the other thing we wanted to ask about was what some people have said is a perceived reluctance from the state to assume long-term responsibility for the various projects along the Salton Sea. You have the SCH, which is great, but if we're talking about the health of the lake as a whole, why is the state not committing, putting the funds up, or assuming long-term responsibility for these other projects along the lake?
Yeah, let me. I'm gonna ask Wade, who's been managing these projects. I'll just say this in a non-defensive posture: we proactively put up more money than any previous administration, probably more than all of them combined. We've worked aggressively to seek more federal support and more federal funding. I've got my entire team more focused on the Salton Sea than any previous administration. I can't make up for the last 40, 50 years. I can't make up for Mother Nature's fury and what's happening in the Colorado or the New River. What I can do is take responsibility for the moments we're living in, and I'm very proud of the progress that we're seeing, but I'm very mindful that the 30,000 acres that we're committed to by 2028, we haven't finished that yet, but nor is it 2028. We've got a great team on the ground and led by Wade Crowfoot, our resource lead, and I couldn't be more proud of his work, but he'll tell you more about it in more detail.
Yeah, I'll just start by sharing what the governor shares with us privately and acknowledge that residents around the sea have been waiting a very long time for projects that are going to stabilize the sea. The sea has been shrinking, exposing the dust and the playa that worsens air pollution. We've lost major fish and wildlife habitat, and we need action. And so, as he mentioned, over the last 4 years, we have built momentum thanks to the leadership of the people behind me. Our legislative leaders, including Assemblymember Garcia and the governor, have allocated over $500 million to projects at the sea. The governor noted that the federal government, for the first time ever, just committed $250 million to projects that are being developed at the sea. As the governor mentioned, we were just at a 4,100 acre habitat project, which really is the epitome of our progress at the sea. But we hear it all the time. We need to materialize more projects around the sea. And that's happening. That's happening with our partners in Imperial County, thanks to Supervisor Kelly. It's happening in Riverside County, thanks to our partnerships with Supervisor Perez and others. It's happening with the partnerships of the Torres Martinez Band of Desert Cahuilla Indians. So we recognize that we need to continue to accelerate progress at the sea. So you'll see more projects like the one we visited this morning in months and years to come.
Hi, Governor Marco Revuelta, Buenas Noticias, Telemundo 15 in the Coachella Valley. I've spoken to many families, Hispanic immigrants. While they're very excited about what's to come with the lithium industry, they're also concerned about their health. What is your message to them?
Well, you know what? Why don't you talk about this project as a proof point that can perhaps demonstrate, not by word but by deed, what this industry actually is and what it's not.
Yeah, let me have the opportunity to clear this one up once and for all. What you see in the background here is a closed loop system. The lithium itself has no contact to the atmosphere whatsoever. The impact of geothermal, we may use 30 acres of land coverage compared to, say, 8,000 acres in a similar project, say in the Salars, where evaporation ponds. So there's no environmental worsening, only the betterment of. And I think I'd refer to the image at the back there. If we can create a clean energy park out of this wasteland here and cover it and put landscaping and dry land style mitigation with the dust, then just for a point of interest, we'll have up to 10 to 12,000 people here. We do not want to live in this dust either, and my running days are over because of it. So I think looking outside the box a little bit, and particularly our relationship with the Torres Martinez, dry land mitigation. I spoke to Wade and the governor about that, where we cover playa in real impact. Maybe develop solar and sort of incorporate into this 4,000 acres of land we have. So that's our little piece. I know it's not 50,000 acres, but certainly we just wanted to clear the facts about how lithium is produced compared to other styles of production.
What's novel about their approach is they're lithium first. It's not the byproduct of a geothermal. And that's what's, I think, novel and innovative. And that's the opportunity here anew. And this is it. This is the Holy Grail. And the opportunity for the community, particularly, to be inclusive in terms of that equity contribution that I speak of, is literally written into the rules and the governing framework that the state of California has advanced, including in terms of the excise tax and going right back into the community.
Hello, my name is Karina Basarte. I'm with KYMA. I recently graduated from San Diego State University and I became a reporter here in Imperial County. I know yesterday you spoke to...
You never thought they'd make the round of 16, did you? It was not on your bracket. Tell the truth.
I know.
Okay, I know. I just want you. I know. I want a level set. You just. Okay.
And since you're here, I may have to ask a question that's not based on this topic. But since I became a reporter here in the Imperial County, I saw there's not many resources of mental health, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit of. Do you have any suggestions or any resources you might want to incorporate here in the Imperial County?
Oh my gosh. I don't know how many hours ago, but less than 12 hours ago, I was in San Diego laying out a detailed vision to address this issue that impacts every single one of us, whether we want to admit it or not, some of us more intimately than others. People are under enormous stress and anxiety. They were pre-pandemic, and of course, stacking of the stress in the last few years has made it more acute and worse. That's manifested in many different forms and manifestations, none more acute than what's happening on the streets and sidewalks all across the state. Encampments, people self-medicating, the drug overdose rates off the chart, number of suicide attempts, ideation in that space off the charts. As a consequence, we've laid out a vision working with the legislature, Eddie and his team, and others to completely reimagine our annual appropriation and funding for programs and to rebuild our mental health system that was dismantled in the late 1960s. In 1967, the Lanterman-Petra Short Act was signed by Governor Ronald Reagan, and it began the process, this long, slow process of deinstitutionalization. It wasn't the only act that contributed to it, but it was the trigger that focused on a community-based alternative to large-scale state institutions. But they never manifested, they never materialized because they were never funded. We are laying out a vision for bonds, regionally based bonds, community-based partnerships, a network bottom-up in every region of the state, and appropriating dollars in a much more strategic way by reforming the Mental Health Services Act. In addition to that, and I'll close, Assemblymember Garcia and others were instrumental last year in setting aside $4.7 billion. There's not a state in the nation that now is committed to the behavioral health screening, early screening, treat brain health early before you punish it later, of our youth, 0 to 26, full comprehensive framework, 44,000 counselors to be trained and hired in that space, partnerships with our school district in every part of California. So we've laid out the marker, the vision, and the resources, and we're going to go to the voters in '24 to get that bond, to get to the next level and get it done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry for being long-winded, passionate about that issue as well. There's a lot of stress out there, not just stress in terms of the environment.
Hello, my name is Antonio Marquez. I'm with Universidad Palm Springs. And my question is, having Adela de la Torre here, how do you plan to work with students, in research with lithium and getting them involved since the community has a lot of resources?
Well, I have to say, Antonio, that the big goal of the new Brawley campus is really to create opportunities for research. The Brawley campus is going to be a P3 partnership. So the beginning is this wonderful $80 million project that, again, Assemblymember Eduardo Garcia was critical. I can't tell you how important he was in working with SDSU, and of course the governor supporting it. With this infrastructure, we will have the types of labs, chemists, environmental health experts. We'll also be able to have the engineers that create the type of infrastructure needed for the research projects that students need who will go into the industry. It's going to be completely different from getting a degree. It'll be integrated. What's going to be important will be working with our partners back here as well, meaning they're going to hopefully work with us and our students to train them so they can go quickly into the industry. So the model is completely revolutionized. And I do have to say, again, Assemblymember Garcia, we worked together closely on this with this new vision. And then Governor Newsom, you hit the home run. We got it. And now we need to move forward to make sure that the students of the Valley are here, trained, and able to take the leadership roles. And that's what's critical. This is not for people. Obviously, anybody can come to the Valley, but for too long, higher education has not been committed to really growing our students. And that's going to be our goal, and that is our future. So thank you for the question, Antonio. And I know you're an SDSU grad as well, aren't you? Go Aztecs.
Supervisor.
I enjoy that question, and so we applaud and look forward to the SDSU development of STEM and the opportunities for education. But we had conversations in 2021. Our Imperial Valley College has already created a program for certificate and associate, and that was in the inclusion of industry. That has already begun, and we are trying to, we have already started an assessment of all of our junior high and high school education opportunities to develop STEM focused on Lithium Valley development, and that's happening today.
Good afternoon, I'm Marcy Landeros with the Ivy Press. I'm also the last question, guys.
All right, make it good.
Oh, it's going to be
Yeah,
good.
it's always the toughest one, too. Bring it on, all right.
I think Ryan's going to like this question, too. The Taxpayer Protection and Government Accountability Act initiative threatens to undo much of the work that the supervisors and the assembly members and all of us have done to make Lithium Valley happen. It is looking at removing for those of you who don't know, it's looking at removing all of the tax laws which were created from 2022 forward, including our 80/20 tax law. Do we have any guarantees or messages of support that we're not going to lose that? Because for those of us who have been fighting for this, that is terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, Supervisor, you want to amplify just from a local perspective? I'm happy as well.
So we are aware of this, and thank you for that question, Marcy. If it does go to a vote and it does succeed at the ballot, that as we spoke with the governor's office last year, we are prepared to bring this to the voters of Imperial County and create the severance tax right here at home.
Yeah. I was just going to say the same. We are planning to have what would be a Plan B and a Plan C to ensure that the work that was done last year to put the people of Imperial County first when it comes to lithium recovery and the revenues coming back, that the voters of this county have a shot at making that a question that they get behind and support. None of us want to start all over with that conversation. We want to make sure that that is solidified, it's in state law, and that it become a local law if necessary. So good question, and thank you for asking that.
We're all going to work hard to defeat that. So it's avoided. Oh, fine, good. I'm glad you're talking.
Well, I'm going to be a little less polite, or a lot less polite. We worked real hard to get SB 125 passed, and it was thanks to the coalition that we built here, thanks to our legislators, thanks to the strong backing of the governor and his team. So if any threats, again, come to try to undo the hard work that we did, I think that we already went through that test, because it wasn't easy to get SB 125. We didn't build this strong coalition. And I also want to acknowledge labor that was also part of that coalition through Lithium Valley Community Coalition. So, I mean, bring it. That's what I'm going to say. Thank you.
I'll just leave it at that. And let me just close by thanking the commission as well, Lithium Valley Commission. I was joking with Sylvia. I said, I've never heard of I've been in this racket for a long time. I've never heard of a commission that disbanded itself. Usually these commissions last in perpetuity, but they felt like their voices were heard. They came out with a remarkable report, 15 specific action items. We are trying to meet all of them in the spirit of what they've set forth. And Sylvia, I just want to congratulate you on a really wonderful job organizing as chair of that commission over the course of the last few years. Thank you all very, very much, and we look forward to being back many, many times in the near future.
Thank you.